Video is going to talk about preparing annotations for your annotated bibliography. As we work on the annotated bibliography, you are going to be submitting individual source entries so that you can receive feedback before you compile your entire bibliography. But before we do this, it's important to kind of realize what an annotated bibliography does and what the expectations are for each of these source entries. It's really important that you have looked over the other information in the course, and especially the information that I provided that takes you to the Purdue OWL writing website that goes over what goes into different types of annotations. So the annotated bibliography has two parts. There's going to be an introductory overview, but you are going to write that last. It is not the first thing you write. You cannot do the introductory overview until you've already done all your sources. Then you also have the individual source entries. And the individual source entries include bibliographic information, summary, and analysis. So as you can see here, you're going to have some sort of a citation, whether it's MLA or APA format. It's going to look like a bibliographic entry. You're going to have 1 to 2 paragraphs of summary and another 1 to 2 paragraphs of analysis. These annotated bibliographies are going to be kind of in depth, and you're going to be able to use a lot of that information in your future papers. So the first thing that you're going to do is read and annotate each article carefully. You're going to write a summary of the article that includes all of its major claims and reasons and an overview of the evidence provided. So someone who has not read the article should be able to read the summary and get a really clear understanding of exactly what is in the article. It should not be a 1 to 2 sentence overview. It should be a pretty in-depth summary of what that article contains. After that, you're going to evaluate the article. You're going to consider the audience, context, and purpose of the source. You're going to assess it for the usefulness of answering your research question, and you're going to talk about how that particular source relates to other sources. So in the summary, you should not use the source abstract. A lot of the longer sources in the library databases come with an abstract. Do not copy that and do not use it. Those are for different audiences. In your summary, you should describe the main argument, you should talk about what claims the source makes, and you should describe how the source supports those claims. Be sure that you describe any evidence that's used. If there are interviews, raw data, interpretations of data, charts and graphs, anything like that that would be helpful for a researcher, you should include that in your summary. And the big thing to ask is, could someone who hasn't read the source know whether it would be useful for them based on your summary? If not, your summary isn't complete. Now, in the source analysis, it's really important that you're showing your critical thinking skills. How does this source pass the CRAP test? Why is it appropriate for college level research? And it's not enough to say it is appropriate. You have to explain why. Why is it appropriate for this course or for this writing assignment? Is the source biased? Is it objective? And how do you know? How does it fit into your project? And how does this source compare with or speak to the other research and sources you've found? So as you're compiling your annotated bibliography, these sources should all be in conversation with one another. If they don't interact with one another, you don't have a good annotated bibliography yet. So the goals of an annotated bibliography are to show your research, and more than just showing that you found stuff, it's to demonstrate that you understand individual sources and that you understand how those sources fit into your project. It shows that you've read, analyzed, and thought critically, and it shows that you've looked at the entire conversation, 360 degrees. Your sources should show that a conversation exists, and a conversation includes some disagreement. It's not just that everyone agrees with the same facts. If your sources say all the same thing, it means you probably don't have a solid research question yet. You're still at the kind of fact level and not at the argument level. The big thing is your annotated bibliography shows that you are ready to write your essay. So again, the introduction is going to be the last thing that you write. Do not do this introduction first, and actually don't even work on it until we go over the information about the introduction and work on it in the future weeks to come. So if you have any questions about preparing annotations or how they work, be sure that you reach out and email me or ask during office hours.